Okay, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to today's installment of my Six-Figure Pro series of training calls. And in today's call, I'll be covering how to write a compelling resume that builds your brand as a six-figure top performer and, more importantly, gets more responses from potential employers. Let me see. I've got Lewis Lowry on the phone with me. Let me get him unmuted.
Hey,
Lewis,
Tammy.
are you there, my dear? Hi.
I'm here. How are you?
I kept you muted in case you were doing stuff.
Laundry or something like that?
Laundry. Exactly. First off, I want to welcome, we've got 64 new people that signed up since our last call, so I'm very, very excited to welcome them. So if you're on the call today, I really appreciate you joining us live. And if you're listening to this afterwards, I hope that you can get a lot from it in taking notes. So Lewis, who is a client of mine and has become a good friend of mine, is now successfully employed and really making a name for himself in the Kansas City community. So I'll let him introduce me, and he's graciously volunteered to help me host this call so that it doesn't sound like I'm lecturing you all and I hear nothing but crickets for a full hour.
All right. Well, I'll certainly...
Lewis, I'll let you take it away.
All right. Well, I'll jump in there, and so that we won't have crickets chirping at this point. Well, I will tell you, Tammy, it's always a pleasure to be on the call, and certainly to be the person that's prodding you to make sure that we're getting the information out. But to everyone on the call, certainly welcome. Let me tell you a little bit about Tammy, and again, she's a great friend of mine, and I really am fortunate to know her. Tammy is a job strategist, resume writer, and owner of Career Resume Consulting. Tammy has spent 8 years as an expert in the career field and another 18 years as a hiring manager, so she really, really knows her stuff. In addition to that, Tammy has been featured as an expert multiple times in the Wall Street Journal, MSNBC.com, Monster.com, CareerBuilders.com, The Ladders, the Kansas City Star, and dozens of other online and paper publications. She is also an author of the Job Search Accelerator Blueprint and Resume Reboot. And I have to tell you that she's just a wonderful person. So, Tammy, we're going to go ahead and turn it over to you because I'm sure the callers are anxious to hear about some great information you have to share with them today.
Yeah, thank you. And it looks like we still have a lot of people still joining us. So I'm glad for everybody who didn't hear my thanks at the beginning of the call. I appreciate you joining in on the call today. Just quick housekeeping. Everybody is on mute with the exception of me and Lewis. So if you have a dog barking or a cat meowing, with the exception of mine, you're not going to hear them. At the end of the call, you can raise your hand by pressing *2 if you're on the phone. And it looks like we have just as many people listening in online. So if you have a question during the hour, feel free, if you're online, to look in the lower left-hand corner of your screen, and there's a box there that you can type in your questions. And toward the end of the hour, I'll be taking your questions both by phone and also online. Feel free to raise your hand at any time or to put in the questions online at any time, and I'll get to those in the hopefully last 10 or 15 minutes of the call. So I want to give you a little bit more background about me. Most of my corporate career is in operations, and I climbed the corporate ladder. Toward the end of my corporate career, I was at a director level for a large company here in Kansas City in charge of about 450 people. And I've been a hiring manager throughout my career, hiring people, and actually I helped with hiring VPs at a certain point as well. But then at my 10-year anniversary where I worked, I was laid off. Actually, it was the exact day. So I got my Coach leather attaché for my 10-year anniversary and my pink slip inside. So this was before I started in a career firm, and I've got to tell you, I was really lost. So if I was unemployed for a year, it was very, very difficult for me. I didn't know how to find a job. Luckily, a recruiter contacted me. I ended up getting a position as a marketing director with the largest executive career firm out there in the job market, and moved my way into a senior marketing director position. And basically with that career firm, I worked one-on-one with clients the way that I do now in helping them create a personal brand, helping them change careers, oftentimes moving from one industry to the next, or even from one job to the next, job title to the next, and really helping them brand themselves as top performers. So that gives you a little bit of background on where I've been, but since 2003, I've been basically helping people brand themselves into new careers. So what I'm going to be talking about today is going to be based on the experience and based on the successes of the clients that I've had over the last 8 years.
Well, that's just super, Tammy, and I have to say, in recanting last month's 2 calls when we talked about the 10 traits of highly effective job seekers and also inside the mind of recruiters, how to get their attention, those 2 calls really, really opened the door on understanding a couple of important things in addition to the things that, we're going to learn from you today. So speaking of the day, and it's a beautiful day here in Kansas City, Tammy, what are we going to learn?
Well, my intention for this call is to give you specific strategies that you can use on your resume to switch it up a bit. If you're finding that your resume isn't getting the results that you're wanting, that perhaps all you need is that first phone call from an employer, I'm going to show you a type of resume that I will usually write for my clients. It's called a functional resume. It's a 1-page functional that has gotten my clients a whole lot better results than what they received before. You're going to be helped by this information if you haven't been receiving responses with your chronological resume, and I can tell you that probably 95% of you that are listening to this have a chronological resume. In other words, you've got an objective statement or a summary statement up top, and then you list your jobs in reverse chronological order. That's what everybody's looks like. So we're going to talk about how to write something completely different. And the specific items that we're going to cover this morning, you may have seen this in the description, is why you use a resume to build your brand. We'll talk about branding and why you brand yourself in the first place. And then also why your resume isn't getting results. So I'll talk about the things that you should not have in your resume. And then I'll go over 7 characteristics of a good resume and components of my resumes. And I do write chronological resumes for those people that I feel that it's appropriate for, but for a majority of my clients, I do recommend a 1-page functional resume, especially when you combine it with the job search strategies that I recommend for my coaching clients. And also, I'm going to give you tips today on how to quantify achievements. A lot of people have difficulty in quantifying their own achievements. How do you add numbers to the things that you've done? So I want to give you all of this so you can start making significant changes today to your resume that will produce immediate results. So when you upload it onto the job boards, if you start sending it out to your target employers, to companies that are growing, if you start using it in your networking efforts, that you're going to start to see a significant difference in the number of phone calls from employers.
Well, and I also believe, Tammy, that one of the things that you're going to do in today's call, which is really inviting to hopefully all of our listeners, is that you are going to give a free evaluation after those that are on the call have made changes that you've suggested. So you'll take an opportunity to look at their resumes and to provide them with some feedback. And in addition to that, and since we are going to be taking questions and answers today, that you're going to allow some time to answer those questions, whether they come across either on the web or over the phone, about some specifics that our listeners will have.